Hello everyone, and welcome to another enlightening episode of Eduko Lounge. Today we have a seasoned expert in the field of overseas education consultancy. With over a decade of experience helping students achieve their dreams of studying abroad, our guest is here to answer some burning questions about studying overseas. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Nisha Ravichandran. Thank you for joining us, Ms. Nisha. Your wealth of experience in guiding students to study abroad is truly remarkable. Nisha, studying abroad is a very hot topic these days in Sri Lanka. Many students and even their parents want their children to study abroad. So you're currently working in a leading consultancy called Eduko Pathways. And can you tell me, why should someone seek the services of an overseas educational consultant when considering studying abroad?
First of all, Purni, thanks a lot for the warm welcome.
Thank you.
I actually realized that I've come closer to a decade of his experience, and that gives me a lot of pleasure. And of course, studying abroad, as you rightly said, it's a hot topic.
Yes.
There are so many reasons why parents, students do want to study abroad. I think as a young student, you might realize the importance of study abroad. Now, when you categorize the services, now this is a service that a study abroad consultant provide. Now, before we come to answer your question as to what we should look into a study abroad consultant, why one should go through a study abroad consultant, it's important for us to know who they are.
Yes, sure.
Now, I think that is not probably around all these parents and students' mind, because I can relate myself. Because when I was back then, long time back, we didn't even know that such thing was existing. So studying abroad was like a privilege. It's like you study at a university like Harvard, Oxford, and all these top unions. So things particular study abroad was like a fantasy or a dream that any student would think of. Now when you take there is a paradigm shift. Now this paradigm we had about study abroad has changed. Now when you look through the years, long time back, you didn't even have anybody to guide in generals, right? So I'll take a simple example. Now say that one fine day you study and you want to get married, right?
Yeah.
So nowadays there are event planners where you just, give out all these responsibilities to them. They just take all your burden from top to bottom.
Sure.
But if you ask me, I never thought of, going to a wedding planner. I'm like, why? Why do you have to spend that much,
Yeah.
When I can handle it.
Sure.
But actually when you deep dive, when you just go through, they actually take your burden out, right?
Yeah.
When you realize when you get into it.
Sure.
So until the person get inside that subject, they won't realize the importance of it. So it's our responsibility to educate them. Now I just took the example of a wedding plan.
Yeah.
Obviously you have a cost.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Nothing comes for free.
Sure. Yeah.
But on a good note, study abroad, because we are running, I work for a leading study abroad consultancy firm. We don't charge the student.
That is.
Yes, we don't charge anything from a student, because we do everything. It's not that I'm going to say that we do it free of charge, because we do get, all these remuneration or whatever the benefits, not from the student. However, we don't charge an extra money. So imagine if something is given to you on a platter, right? Look here, these are the things.
Yeah.
So we are here to guide you.
Sure.
And especially when it comes to this study abroad, so you should consider the factors like where to study, how to study, whom to contact. Because I see a lot of students, parents, they're lost. So they ask us, okay, which part now? There are so many stages into it, especially when it comes to this deadlines, university acceptance, visa process. It's not going to be easy. Not because we can't expect anybody to be thorough on that area also. So what do? You get an expertise advice.
Yeah.
And they will guide you like how a parent would guide their kid from the, inception, how would they guide throughout?
Sure.
So it's a similar example that I would like to give. It's not like that I wanna toot my own horn, like saying that, okay, no. Because I also experienced the same thing when I was after high school. I had a thought of studying abroad, but I didn't know where to start. I didn't have anybody whom, that I could go for and get guidance, because we can't expect our parents to be really knowledgeable.
Yeah. So you didn't have these privileges back in the day.
Never. As in, there was, but very, very handful. And as I said, like, studying abroad was a dream.
Yeah.
It was a dream. We always thought, okay, maybe once in a life, maybe our children or maybe somebody else could. We never thought about it in future. So I think it's a gift for all these students who are studying now.
Sure.
We have plenty of consultants now. But there are factors that I would like to, emphasize, like how do you select your study abroad consultants?
Yes.
Because when there are plethora of options around the market, I think that's very important to consider.
So my next question jumps back to the topic again. So for students who are considering studying abroad, what are the key details that they should gather or consider before embarking on this journey?
So mainly, like, if a student wishes to study abroad, obviously there should be entry criteria.
Yeah.
Whether the student meets those entry criteria. Example, obviously it's going to be your education.
Sure.
So if a student seeks to study bachelor's, what they have, achieved in terms of their A-levels, whether they are O-levels. In case now, it's unlike those days, they say, like, if you fail A-levels, there is no life.
Yeah.
Now you don't have
yeah.
that. Every student has a pathway. Even now, it's a trend that Sri Lankan students opt for, foundation.
Sure.
Just to, climb up their career ladder faster. They do foundation and then directly go for bachelor's. So this education knowledge is given by a consultant. Now, say that you do not have the entry requirements to apply. How do you know that?
Yeah.
I know, like, technology has grown, but still you can't do everything using technology, right? Because I personally have come across so many students say, look here, that I have this many results, but I don't know what course to choose.
Sure.
So the
Guidance is lacking in that way. Yeah.
is very important.
Sure.
Because Pony, at the end of the day, it's a huge investment it's a time investment, costs, money, your parents, because once you get into it, you can't take it back.
Sure.
Because the age factor, the time factor, everything is important. So I think the decision making should be, like, at that point, should be straightforward. And that can be only done when you go to the right person.
And you need expert advice for that.
Expert advice.
Okay. So choosing a university is a very significant decision in one's life. So is it mandatory for students to aim for top tier universities or just average ones?
So going back to your previous question also, you asked, like, how, one should prepare themselves, what are the factors that should choose. So basically, now say that you have so many, products in the market.
Yes.
I'm just taking this example so that somebody can relate to it. So there are so many FMCG products, now say, like, even automobile. You have Toyota, you have BMW, you have Benz, but who can afford what?
Yeah.
What would, because it's based on one's requirement. Now, I might be a person who loves, very, very, quiet, calm, a job which involves that sort of thing, because I'm also an introvert. I was just, hearing that you were telling you were an introvert. So how would you select a course based on that? Now, say somebody who is, like, really, hates blood, who doesn't like to work in such an environment.
Yeah.
I mean, that person cannot be a doctor or a nurse, or who could work in a health-related, jobs. So how would you choose a course for that particular person? So it involves a lot of research on a student's interest. Now, we have moved with a lot of students, but they don't open up. So we have to do kind of a deep counseling, tell them, okay, look here, this is what this has. Now, universities had a lot of options. Not like those days we have typical traditional, HR, business, engineering, science, that's it. But now there are so many options. So we cater, basically we are the navigator from the student's point of view, and how would you match, these courses between them. And then when it comes to selecting a university, we can't sell a product just because I like, say, Monash or maybe University of Melbourne. I cannot force somebody, say, look here, this is what it is. No, because these universities are categorized based on different elements. It can be due to their research, maybe due to their employability, due to their strong academic staff.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's very, very difficult for us to compare one with the other. So basically, the answer is, based on the student's interest, their parents' affordability, what would they gain by following that course is very important.
So all of those aspects have been answered with an expert counseling, right? Okay. So, and what other factors should be considered when choosing a university, such as maybe now the cost, the duration, maybe the availability of scholarships, and now most of the youngsters are looking for internships and work integrated learning. So, how can you comment on that?
You rightly mentioned the word scholarship.
Yeah.
Now, if I talk about Sri Lanka as a region, majority of students, about 80-90% of students do want a scholarship. One thing, to act as a financial aid. The other factor is that they want to be recognized for their achievements. So if you, recognize somebody for their achievement, that itself is a motivation. So a lot of universities do have these automatic scholarship just to, motivate the student as well as to recognize them. But there is another category where you can, apply under financial aid if you have any financial difficulty. That will be very, very competitive as well. So therefore, considering the scholarship factors and also considering about the other, as you said, how practically it can be connected once the student graduates. Is the content in par with what you look for?
Yes.
So especially if you're a student who is looking for all sort of, practical learning rather than all these theoretical learning, how well we could match that course with your expectations.
Okay. So speaking of countries, there are numerous options for studying abroad. In your experience, what are some of the best countries for international students, and what makes them stand out?
If I had to answer this question, I have to be biased, but I don't want to be biased. But every country, probably, if you take, it can be Australia, New Zealand, UK, Malaysia, Canada, some of the EU countries, these are some of the popular countries among students. Why? Because they have a lot to offer.
Yeah.
Now, Australia and Canada are considered the top most, preferred countries because they offer attractive options like students, working part-time, and they get their post-study period, as well as UK. So I cannot specifically say, okay, look here, Australia is better than Canada, or maybe Canada is better than UK. It's very difficult to answer that question. But I think the countries that I just mentioned are most popular among students because of these regions, and especially with a lot of, innovative courses that they bring out. Because certain countries, when they look for the current trends, especially like business data analytics, and I just had a chat with one of the Netherlands consultants today, and he mentioned something about clean management or clean technology, which I have never heard of. And he said that was a course which was introduced mainly because that country looks for expertise in that particular field. So, I mean, this is very, very, unique.
Sure.
So, I feel it's very difficult to choose a country based on, the offerings.
It's like every country is different on their own and has unique opportunities for the students. Okay. So, there might be students who are willing to apply for scholarships with their exceptional track records. Like Sri Lanka, of course, we have a lot of students. So what countries and universities in particular do you think would be the best for the students to apply?
if you talk in terms of scholarships, every countries, right? So there are government, managed scholarships where you get these Australian awards, and there is like in Canada, you have specifically government managed scholarships, and universities do also provide scholarships. So with my experience, depending on, because the tuition fees can change from each country to one country. Now, so basically like Canada is considered as the affordable tuition fees. And then comes, say, UK, Netherlands, Malaysia, and Australia is also one of the, best countries that students get into. But also the fact that they offer a lot of scholarships because their course fee is slightly more than these countries. So in terms of the offerings, you might feel that, okay, they offer the scholarship, but when you take the, deducted scholarships, deducted tuition fees, it would be somewhat similar. But if you talk about, higher scholarships like 50% and then 100%, obviously, Australia offers, like, they have multiple options to do that. So yet again, it's very difficult for us.
And competitive. Yeah. Okay. So finally, let's touch on a significant concern for students these days, which is visa rejections. In recent times, many students have faced visa rejections. What are your thoughts on this issue, and what advice do you have for these students to navigate these problems?
Okay. This visa refusal problem wasn't very new. It was there from the time the study abroad thing was there.
Okay.
Why it's highlighted a little bit now is because the amount of students getting into, these countries is more. So therefore, the reflection of the refusals could also be more, because this wasn't a topic before, because this was just it played it very subtly, because study abroad wasn't that hot topic, before the economic crisis of COVID. But now, the urge of students applying has, become more. So what happens, as I just emphasize the point, that they do not seek proper advice. Now, rejections can be due to so many reasons. You can't generalize. It's very difficult to generalize the refusal. It can be due to inadequate fundings, fraudulent documents, or maybe you had some bad travel history. So it's very unique to each and every one. But I can talk about the common mistakes that students do. This is what I said, that study abroad consultants' intervention is very important, so that from the beginning we could, try avoid these gray areas and educate the student.
Yeah.
Now, I know a lot of students, I know they want to be smart. They just say, no, I don't want anybody's guidance. I just can, apply.
Yeah.
So I have come across students who do not really know the technical part. Obviously, you can't expect them to, fill out a visa form. At that point, in that urgency, they might, fail to attach the relevant information due to, inadequate knowledge. That is very, very, that's a common mistake that a lot of students do. And as a fresher, now say that before coming to us or maybe any other consultant, do you know how much of money that you need to demonstrate?
I had a rough idea, but then I had to dig in with the agent itself to get more.
So it's very difficult, for us to, because we've been in this industry, we've been breathing, we've been living in it, so that we know the know-how. And for any, issues that we could, talk to the relevant party and we could get it done. So students, parents, sometimes they do not realize the importance of this intervention, so they just go bluntly make an application that gets rejected. So this is one of the common mistakes happening. So I would give out a message saying, okay, look here, it can be anybody, but try to get an advice or guidance from a consultant, because it's a huge investment and it's your child's future.
Sure.
So once the student is refused, it's very difficult for us to get into a university and reapply if the issue is really serious.
So that is one of the facts that parents and students both should consider before
they embark this journey.
So any last comments that you want to add, or anything that you want to say for our future students or looking to study abroad?
Yes. So I think, as I mentioned from the beginning, you guys are really gifted. You guys have all these, options given by one of the, consultants or somebody. They just wanted to come and give you, so you don't have to spend anything. Get the, advice from the consultant and make sure you make the right choice. Do not, rely or speed up the process. Don't be in a hurry. Just, try to get an expertise advice and try to embark your journey. I'm pretty sure you're going to succeed in your life, because what you put in will be the outcome. So try to put the input at the right time with the right guidance so that you would follow your journey successfully. And I wish all the students who are waiting to embark this journey a very good luck.
Thank you so much. So thank you so much, Ms. Nisha, for shedding light on the quality of studying abroad and the vital role of educational consultants. Remember that studying abroad can be a transformative experience, and seeking professional guidance can make this journey much smoother. Thank you.